What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to take a look at the BenQ EL2870U, which is BenQ's budget level / entry level gaming monitor that sports a 4K TN panel along with HDR capabilities and FreeSync capability as well. So let's take a look at all the good features that it offers coming up. After playing around with this monitor for a while, it's pretty easy to see that this monitor really is geared towards gamers. I would go as far as saying a little bit more specifically towards console gamers as compared to PC gamers. So that doesn't mean that PC gamers can enjoy the features of this. What I'm basically saying is that console gamers will also be able to take pretty good advantage of the features that are offered on this monitor. So for starters, it offers 4K resolution and the ability to go HDR. Now BenQ does state on their website that the max brightness that this monitor is capable of is 300 nits. Bearing that in mind, it doesn't really provide an optimal HDR image, but it's still good to see that they are putting a feature in a more affordable option in terms of monitors. With that being said, when I connected my Xbox One X to the BenQ monitor, it had no issues whatsoever checking off every single box in resolutions and an HDR capability. So aside from that, one more interesting fact about this monitor and something interesting that it offers is FreeSync capability. If you are an Xbox One X owner, you'll be happy to know that you can take advantage of the variable refresh rate ability that came out on the Xbox One X a few months ago. Now pairing it with a monitor like this results in flicker-free and screen-tearingless experiences. So overall, you'll have a much more smoother experience when you're playing on a console with this monitor. Of course, PC users with AMD graphic cards can also take advantage of the FreeSync capability provided by this monitor. It will offer the same kind of smoothness and buttery movements as I mentioned in the case of the Xbox One X. So looking at the monitor, the entire finish is roughly made in plastic, and it does sport a pretty unique T-style base. While I'm not a huge fan of the base, I think it's pretty minimalistic and gets the job done. It's sturdy enough that I'm not really worried that I'm going to knock it over. Now looking at the monitor from the front, it has a pretty thick bezel coming in at around 18 millimeters wide. Along with that, the screen isn't exactly flush with the panel either and is offset about 4 millimeters as well. Now in terms of moving and customizing the angles of this monitor, you're pretty limited. All you really get to do is adjust the viewing angle from front to back of it. While the monitor doesn't have a lot of options with positioning different angles, you'll be happy to know that on the back there is support for VESA mounting. So another important thing worth mentioning is that the input lag on this monitor, if you're hooking up a console to it, is only 10 milliseconds. So bear in mind that most average TVs that do support 4K at 60 Hz resolution as well do go on average about 20 milliseconds or a little bit less than that, depending on if you have game mode enabled or supported in that TV. Now the front of the monitor actually has a dedicated HDR button that not only toggles HDR on and off, but it also toggles the new feature that is offered by this monitor, Brightness Intelligence Plus. What Brightness Intelligence Plus essentially does is it uses the ambient light sensor that's located on the front of this monitor to detect how much light is in the surrounding environment where you are using this monitor and accordingly adjust the screen's temperature and brightness for your maximum comfort. This makes it easy for you to play long extended hours of gaming or movies and not have any strain on your eyes, as it will adjust it so that it is ideal for your eye health. There are a lot of eye care functionalities of this monitor. I won't go into super depth about it, but if you play around in the OSD menu of this, you'll be able to see that they have several different settings that will cater to those that get dizzy for playing long hours. Again, like I mentioned, this monitor really is geared towards gamers. So now looking at the back of the monitor, you'll find two HDMI 2.0 connections that fully support 4K resolutions, one DisplayPort 1.4 version that also displays 4K resolution, a headphone jack, and of course the power outlet. For some who do want a USB functionality, unfortunately there is no USB ports on this specific monitor. And I guess that must be an effort just to reduce cost, given that this is in the entry level / budget level affordability range for a gaming monitor. Now as I mentioned before, this monitor really is geared towards gamers. Now the reason I say that this is really good for gamers is actually pretty simple. The color accuracy according to RGB on this monitor is only 72%, which means if you're a professional artist or if you're someone that really pays attention and does a lot of work with Photoshop, you may not be seeing the exact colors that you're playing around with, and that can really alter your experience. Of course, this is because it is a TN panel and it is hard to get that level of color accuracy when you're using a TN panel. IPS panels and VA panels generally do a much better job in color reproduction as compared to a TN panel. Now, with that out of the way, TN panels are known for having a much faster response time, and with that being said, this monitor particularly offers a 1 millisecond response time, which means it will reduce the effect of ghosting and stuff of that nature when you're playing different types of games on the system. Other than that, although the color accuracy isn't quite up to standard with an IPS panel, I thought that the overall reproduction of colors was very, very well utilized. When playing Ultra HD 4K movies with HDR enabled, I didn't really notice a lack of color or feel like I was missing out on some kind of color accuracy. And none of the footage seemed to be coming very blurry and whatnot. And with that being said, also the brightness didn't seem to be too off par, and overall I was really satisfied with the picture quality of this monitor. Hopping over to some gaming sequences, as you can see playing on the Xbox One X, the experience is actually pretty good. I was able to test a few games and I had no problems whatsoever with any kind of screen tearing or any kind of color accuracy. Games that supported HDR naturally took advantage of the HDR functionality with this monitor, and they looked really, really good. Now, the BenQ EL2870U does come included with two 2-watt speakers built in internal. So while the built-in speakers may not offer the best quality, the headphone jack port in the back lets you at least connect any one of your headphones that you may have sitting around and get a better quality experience overall. With that being said, it is still nice to see that the monitor has built-in speakers included. As mentioned, you can still use it right off the bat. So I've thoroughly enjoyed this monitor as I've been using it for the last couple of weeks. I haven't had any kind of issues with it, and I think it really does well pairing with my Xbox One X. In fact, I've enjoyed the experience so much with my Xbox One X that I've actually taken it off of my TV and I've permanently kept it here with this monitor whenever I want to play on it. I like the ability that it supports HDR. I like that I'm able to do FreeSync, and that's something that my TV cannot do based on the specific model that I currently have. So with that being said, any of you guys who own an Xbox One X and have been out there looking for a monitor that will go really well or a TV that'll go really well, really consider this monitor in your decision. I think for $450, you're getting quite a beast of a monitor. Although it might have some kind of gimmicks here and there, as I shared, the build quality of this may not be top notch, or the bezels are a little bit thicker, but again, you're saving costs compared to if you were going to get a HDR TV that had FreeSync capability in it as well. I think this is a solid buy. If any of you guys are interested in purchasing this monitor, I have links in my description below where you can go ahead and purchase one off of Amazon. If you have any questions, or if you're a user of this monitor and want to share your thoughts on it as well, please let me know in the comments below. I love to interact with you guys. And until then, guys, I will see you on my next video. Bye.